the Amazing Women Speak podcast, inspiring and motivating every Black woman to own, honor, and execute her amazing, individually and collectively, as it was established at birth.
Good evening, happy Sunday, and happy New Year. I'm Crystal L. Gunn, and welcome to another episode of Amazing Women Speak. Thank you so much for joining us. And so while you are getting settled in for the show, hit the share button and share Amazing Women Speak so your friends and followers can get in on this conversation and another great conversation. I promise you it is going to be. And so it's a new year. And you know the drill. You know how it goes. People are always making New Year's resolutions. I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to cut people off. And we, by the way, at Amazing Women Speak, we're not very fond of New Year's resolutions. So as Michele always says, and I'm paraphrasing, why wait for a specific day of the calendar to do what you know you need to do today? So go back and watch the episode, The Bullshit of New Year's Resolutions, and you can find it on YouTube on the Amazing Women Speak channel. But anyway, let's get to today's discussion, which I cannot wait to unpack. The topic is letting go to grow, releasing what no longer serves you. But before we can welcome our dynamic guest, I must first welcome my BFF, Michele Harper. Welcome. Happy New Year and all of the good things. Thank you for saying yes to Amazing Women Speak, sharing your dopeness with the world. Hey.
Hello. Hey, always the place that I want to be. Sitting next to you, having these conversations. And we can't enter this show without talking about this new look that we're rocking.
So let's release what no longer serves us, right? It was time.
Love it. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And Wednesday's going to be really funny. So I hope you're still coming.
Absolutely. Would not miss it. So to the topic at hand, right? Like it's a conversation that really does tee up how we think about kicking off a new year. And we can't have this conversation without having some amazing guests join us for this conversation that we're going to have and help us unpack and better understand why letting go and how to determine what to let go of is so critical. So Curtrice, come in and introduce yourself.
Hello, Crystal and Michele. It's an honor to be back with you. I'm super excited. I'm Curtrice Renee Goddard. I am a spiritual therapist, a transformation coach, and a racial liberation facilitator. My background is in naturopathic medicine and a lot of healing modalities. I work with high-achieving women to help them move through their blocks and catalyze their life. And yeah, those are a few of the hats that I wear.
Welcome, and welcome back. Look forward to diving into this conversation. Diviniti, please join us and introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. Hey. I am Diviniti. So glad to be also back with you again today. I am many things. I'm an educator, first and foremost. I'm a music person. I'm a DJ. I'm a vocalist. I'm an author. I'm a lot of different things. I am Diviniti.
Welcome, and welcome back again.
Thank you.
To our listeners, whatever platform you're joining us on, it is always a joy to make you a part of these conversations. Please drop your comments, questions in the chat. We would love to invite you in through the reading of your word, your comment, to make you an integral part of this conversation. I say at the top of every show, this year is no different. This really is the fastest hour of your day. So we really don't have time to play in shallow waters, right? Like we've got to get to the core of the conversation. And so when we begin to think about letting go of what is not serving, let's take a step back, because oftentimes we find ourselves in places where we believe we are being served or that failure is necessary part of that journey in order to get to success. How do you begin to identify things that truly are not serving you and aren't masking themselves as something else? Curtrice?
My barometer is my joy. And I think that used to sound really radical to me, because when you get to a certain age, people don't always, or societal wise, we don't really prioritize or focus on adults having joy and inspiration as a daily way of being. And for me, those are foundational aspects. I don't need to be here if I am not inspired to be on the earth, right? You know, inspiration comes from seeing a flower, you know, could see a certain color car. It doesn't have to be something monumental, but to be inspired to, which means to be imbued by the spirit, is so important. And when that joy is no longer there and I'm in a pattern, say it could be a job or a relationship, that's always a cue for me to see, is this serving or is this just comfortable? Is there opportunity to expand? And am I willing to look at that?
I love that. Thank you. Divinity.
Well, I'm going to start by saying that Curtrice is a big teacher of mine. So a lot of what I have to say we'll probably sound like twins in a lot of different ways. But what I'll say about this is, for me, it's almost the antithesis. If it starts to hurt, I need to look at it. So unfortunately, I am not to the point yet where I'm realizing that I'm still at a place where it almost has to hurt before I really start to look at it and really go, what is making this hurt and what can I do differently? Comfort is still a thing for me in a lot of different ways. So just to be comfortable is one thing, but yeah. If it starts to hurt, I need to make some adjustments. If it starts to feel painful, not necessarily uncomfortable for me yet, but painful, I need to adjust.
Right. The thing around discomfort, right, is really an interesting thing to consider, because it often masks itself as comfort, right? And so because we fear the unknown, we'll sit in this thing that feels comfortable when it really is uncomfortable and not serving us. And so being able to learn how to identify those things and get comfortable with being uncomfortable, which will force us or challenge us or invite us to consider what needs to be different, it is a powerful and challenging thing that, if we're honest, we all struggle with from time to time, some of us more often than not. And so one of the things we really like to do in this conversation is to elevate some of those tools and resources and ways of thinking or rethinking or reframing that can help our listeners begin to recognize, right, like, because it's comfortable for you doesn't mean it's necessarily good for you or that it is actually serving you. And it may cause you to make some drastic changes in your life. How do we do that? How do we begin to recognize and take those steps towards or away from something that felt right? A job for 20 years, a relationship, friendships. How do we begin to strategize towards walking away or walking towards something better?
I think that's probably the key right there, that difference that you made. For me, I want to look at it as, what am I walking toward, as opposed to what am I walking away from? Like, what is my goal? What is my higher purpose? What is my real end game? And how can I start to move in baby steps toward that? Not necessarily, it's a passion toward what you're moving towards, a passion growing towards what you're moving toward, that makes you be able to let go of what you're leaving behind. It makes it a little bit easier when that focus is on what you're going toward. So for me, it is about more moving forward and looking at that as opposed to what I'm leaving behind.
So Curtrice, how do we do the mind shift, right? From I'm leaving this behind versus I'm walking towards something greater. How do we begin that mind shift?
I love that you use the word mind shift, because I was hearing like growth mindset. Having a growth mindset is really courageous, because a lot of us in the society, we have what they call groupthink, where a lot of times we're thinking like the collective and not really dialed into who we are as an individual. And so allowing yourself to have a growth mindset, a lot of times people have like a resistance to that because it starts to move you out of the crowd.
Right.
And when you allow that growth mindset, meaning I'm interested, I'm going to go to a workshop. I don't really know if I want to do ceramics, but I'll go, just being a person that gets up and change your Sunday to go to a new coffee shop or drop into a new podcast, allowing yourself to expand, it kind of helps you to tune into who you really are and what's calling you. And the big piece about this that I share and what I feel like really helps people to have a thriving life is to be preventative in life, to get ahead of things. Like Divinity said, a lot of times we do wait until it hurts or it drags us down the street. But when we become preventative, it's like, I'm going to start moving this way or stop eating this way. I'm going to go ahead of the curve. I'm not going to always have to let a truck drive me down the street before I wake up. I'm not going to wait for the illness. I'm not going to wait for the thing to come. I'm going to be preventative. So I'll do yoga every morning. I don't need to do it once I get the call that something is wrong with my body. And that is the most empowering mindset to have. And you start that by allowing yourself to have a growth mindset and being more spontaneous with that. Right? Our lives are not just here for us to live them, like wake up, go to work, manage all your tasks, but you're also here to develop as a human being and to go beyond what you've known. So that's the start, is being spontaneous, changing up your week, changing up your day, your lunch hour. I remember when I was in the growth mindset era, I would use my work hour to go walk outside and check out new restaurants around the place where I was working at that time. But years before that, I did the same thing. I sat with the same people. I had the same conversations. And every year my life was the same.
Right.
Yeah.
So some reflection had to happen, right? Like for you to recognize that this thing has been like year after year, I'm repeating these behaviors. And so, right, like here we sit at the beginning of 2025, where most folks are talking about my resolutions, right? Like what I intend to do, without doing a lot of reflecting on why wasn't I able to achieve this thing before, and why do I have to use, right, like January 1 to be the thing that's going to hold all of this pressure, right? Like you put a lot of pressure on yourself walking in saying what this year is going to do when you haven't done that reflecting. How do you get in the habit of doing that at a cadence that you're all of a sudden, right? Like, I can't wait for this year to go away. Like when I hear people say that in November, December, I want to lose my shit, right? Like you're chasing God's gift away to get to something new. Start, right? Like, so how does that reflecting process start? When does it start? How often should we be checking in to start to recognize some of those things that aren't serving us?
So what's coming up, I love this because groupthink is coming up a lot, right? I don't remember ever being taught, even as a child or a teenager, a young adult, that I should have time for myself. It was actually expected that I spend more time outside, with other people, with family, at the event, at the baby shower, showing up for everything, showing up for everybody. Where's your boyfriend? Where's your thing? It was always this constant giving the energy away. And as I started to develop on my own journey, I learned that I have become so much more fulfilled and whole and through having time to myself. Like every day you should have downtime, whether it's a nap as adults. I think there's a woman in the nap ministry. I can't think of her name. There's a book on that. So napping or just having solitude for 45 minutes, going to your car if you work a 9 to 5 and being with your own thoughts. That's where it has to start so that you can be in that reflective mode. Have your journal when you're at work. When I was ready to leave corporate, and I had all these visions and dreams and of who I knew I was and what I wanted to accomplish, I just started pulling my energy in. I would wear headphones at the office, just a little boundary to let people know I'm no longer wanting to interact as much. I'm writing, I'm listening to songs, I'm Googling, while I'm on the clock. I'm doing all these things, right? I was starting to grow mentally, and I was seeing that there was more out there, and I was able to get this awakening, I would call it, by having more quiet time. So actually honoring and creating sacred space for you. That must be, every human being should be doing that. It's not the opposite, to just give all your energy away and that means you're popular and successful and you're doing the thing. The person that has a boundary on their time and their mind and their spirit and their walk is going to be a person that is more reflective and more aware and more fulfilled, I would say.
And if you're not doing that, how can you hear? You can't, without that isolation, you can't hear the things. We're already so disconnected from our bodies and from our spirit, which we've been conditioned since birth. When you think about a pacifier, oh, you got to put your kid on, this schedule. They got to go to bed at a certain time. They got to eat at a certain time. Or, you put this food on your kid's plate and the kid really wants ice cream. So they want to save some room. But what do you tell them? You got to finish the food on your plate before you can have dessert. Well, their body was telling them, well, wait, I'm getting full. I got to save room. So there's all of this conditioning that's pulling us away from the intuition, the signs, the things that are coming up. And if they come up because they feel uncomfortable, we kind of ignore them. But when you're in that isolation, ooh, baby, you can't ignore it.
So, Divinity, I want to back up to something you said where, like, part of your evaluation is, right, like, is this hurting me? And then you discovered, like, I don't have to wait until it hurts. When did you fall in love with you? Because that's what it takes to recognize, like, I don't have to be dragged. I don't have to be drugged. It doesn't have to hurt before I recognize I need to move in a different direction.
What's funny is I was listening to the show I was on with you all last time, and just kind of listening to some of the things you asked and some of the things that I said, and this is one of the things I came back with. Like, this is still pretty new for me. Most of my life, I haven't been in a place where I can say I love myself, I care about myself, I'm putting myself first, or anywhere near the top of my priority list. So it's still something. It's interesting. When Crystal asked me to do this show, I'm like, okay, this is like real time working here, because I'm doing it as I'm talking about it. I'm doing it. I'm living it. It's something I have to do all the time. So when did I learn to love myself? I guess somewhere inside me, I always have. But when did I become aware of it? Recently, like within the past 5 years, 6 years.
That's powerful, right? Like, there's a difference in knowing that it's in you, and then what does it mean to act on that self-love?
Exactly.
Because some things have to change when you do that, right?
Yes.
Like, you become less available. Boundaries look different. Relationships look different. Trace, what was some of that transition for you as you began to discover?
For me, even when Divinity is saying that, I think about it's courageous, actually. When you start to place boundaries and love yourself and prioritize yourself, there's a lot of projection that can come. Not everybody's happy with you not being present or being the same. Before we started, I was saying this, allowing myself to evolve right now, in my business, in my brand. Like, I get to be who I am today, but there's this uncomfortable road of what the expectation of Curtrice is, what the expectation of her voice. This is who she is. And I'm like, well, that's not who she is today. And I don't know, let me kind of break it to you, take you on this journey with me. But it takes a lot of courage, because that is what has fed me. It has given me things, it's given me praise and recognition. I'm like, oh, so you about to blow up the whole foundation, but I have to, because, or it will start to hurt. Right now, it's just tapping me. And so that transition for me, I remember I was in a painful place, like ending a relationship. And I stepped into celibacy after that, because I was feeling hurt, and not so much over that relationship. It was actually a short-term experience, but I was reflective of, like, I don't really think this dating, I don't really see it contributing in a way that I need it to be. I don't see my life really evolving. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not who I want to be. And so I'm going to pull this energy back here. as well. And that's when I started transitioning. And a lot of stuff came after that in terms of becoming an entrepreneur and leaving my 9 to 5, those things. But it was that moment of feeling that discomfort and then being reflective of saying what I've been doing up until this point is not yielding. The ROI isn't high enough. So that was a huge boundary pool to move into that sacred experience with myself at that time. It was deep.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think there's levels to it too, right? The levels to the love that you have for yourself, because the more you heal, the more you grow, the more you elevate, the more in love with yourself you become, which I think is awesome and beautiful. And everybody's on their own journey. You can't, like, the level in which that love comes is based on your own specific journey. So people will look at someone else and say, well, they are such and such and such, or they have this or act like this. And it's like, yeah, they're on a different journey than you. And so I say all of that to say, give yourself some grace, right? When you feel like you should be doing something different or loving yourself differently or more, give yourself some grace, but pay attention to the signs for sure.
Yeah. And what's your measuring stick, right? Like also having to pay attention to that, because we will create our definition of loving thyself based on, right? And right there, you'll get stuck and discover that you will continue to hold yourself hostage to what somebody else, right? How somebody else has gotten it done, how somebody else made it through, and try to love yourself in that way. There's a lot of time. I really love, Curtrice, how you lifted up, right? Like the ways in which we've been conditioned around groupthink, and to have to step away and discover who you are in silence, and then create that self-alignment, right? Like, am I in alignment with self first? And how do I let all other things enter into that space versus the way that we have been conditioned to do that? So January 1 is another time where folks get together and we create vision boards.
Did you like roll your eyes when you said that?
I felt something.
A little, yeah.
And I believe that there's power, right? Like without vision, people will fail. I believe in that. So for folks who are joining us that really have subscribed to New Year's resolution, right? Like we'll talk to you later about not having to do that again, but here we are now. What's the power of doing vision boards? How do we create change a fad, shift a fad into something that folks can really ground themselves in and grow in this year, if that's their first step towards letting go of what's not serving?
I think you have to, on that vision board, there's also has to be a to-do. You can't just have the vision. What are you going to do differently? Because in a lot of instances, you've had this vision for the last 5 years. Right. So what are you going to do differently? What are you going to own? What are you going to heal? I think that needs to be part of that board as well, in order to, make sure that those pictures and those images that you want to acquire, to reach, to, what are you going to do? Like, everything points back to you. So what are you going to do to make sure next year's vision board has something different, because you've actually helped to manifest the things that you put on that board?
And I would say, I think, as opposed to, or in addition to a to-do part, how do you want to feel? Not just what do you want to do and what do you want to accomplish? How do you want to feel throughout the year? A few years ago, I really shifted that and made that my focus. And I feel like that was a real, almost one of the most transformative years that I had, when I started. I didn't do a to-do list for the year or a list of goals that I wanted to accomplish. It was how do I want to feel? I want to feel proud of myself. I want to feel joy. I want to feel at ease. I want to feel love. I want to feel connected. And how can I make sure that those opportunities come to me? What positions can I put myself in? What, again, that's when it connects to the do. What do I need to do differently to put myself in a position to feel those things more consistently? But focus on the feel, not on the do. That would be what I'd say.
I love that. And I was going to say, when Crystal said to do, I'm like, and who are you being? Like the beingness of it, right? I am that I am, right? I am that's more quantum, right? That's more actually moving. Well, I got chills as I say that. But I feel like even when Michele, we were all kind of just feeling the energy around vision board, I don't want to project on you, but I can feel that energy of like, we are so much more powerful than going through these cycles, right? And so I could just feel that desire you have for the collective in that. And that's really powerful, like who the beingness of it, in like a more practical way that I do that. I remember being in LA because I've taken the road less traveled. So I've been kind of homeless and Airbnb. I've done all the story of the entrepreneur, right? And I remember I've always thought of myself as a billionaire, as a very wealthy human being, being able to help and build and do things in Africa. Like I've had all these huge visions, and philanthropy has always been huge for me. And I remember like really not knowing where I would be living in 3 months, but I will always donate to causes, even if they were like, oh, you can send $3 or you can send $11. And I remember them coming through my account. I'm like, ooh, like, okay. Whoa, that could have been brown rice. That could have been and so that, but I end up just becoming comfortable with that and being connected to those causes and learning from those causes and having my hand in that intentional building with these things that I felt really aligned with. For me, was a code of wealth, right? Of me connecting with my values and being able to contribute, and not me needing to have, millions of dollars in order for me to start giving. Like $3 was enough for me to step into what I could consider like embodiment, the being energy of a thing. So sometimes whatever it is on your vision board, like if it's some type of, I don't know, you want a luxury home, you can always go eat at Oga's or some cafe that's in the neighborhood where that home would be, like being in the energy of it, right?
Being.
Calling it in, right? Saying, I am that. I'm here. I see you. I should be here. You shouldn't stay where you are living now and just looking out into, maybe or faith of that. Like there's a being energy that's powerful too.
I love that. Right. I believe pull on whatever tools and resources that are available to you. Right. So if folks have been doing vision boards, right, like don't take my reaction as like never, don't do that. Right. What you just heard were 3 amazing women offer up 3 strategies to make a vision board really more impactful and something that's going to help you live out these things that you're envisioning. And so that really is the action, the doing part, and the feeling part, and the being part. So connect those as parts of your tools if you're going to do a vision board, as a way of really making it something that is livable and transformative for your life. I was just at a visioning party, and they played a TED Talk, and I can't remember the woman's name. And what she said was, the thing that I do throughout the years, I collect things and put them in a box. And then when it comes time for, she does action boards is what she calls them now. And she pulls those things out and it creates that story for her, which I thought was a powerful way to write. Like if you're going to use this as a tool to really get a lot out of it, that's really going to, what is speaking to you, versus this party where we put a bunch of magazines and stickers on the table without time to be reflective of, right, like of the things, right, like of the strategy, and to put it together. So I participated in the activity, and then the right side of my board is blank to be able to do that very thing for the year, right? Like I'm going to use this as a tool. I'm going to attempt to use this as a tool. And that's funny because it's sitting right here. I'm going to attempt to use this as a tool. Blank, right? To do that very thing. Capture action, to feel, and to be. So yeah, I really appreciate that drop for the folks who still believe that is one of the ways, and it is one of the ways to help you make clear the things that you should be doing.
Just a little hack too. It don't have to be a board, just for the people in the back. It doesn't have to be a board, really.
It's not.
I mean, like, that's one small thing you can do to just kind of expand, just start thinking a little bit. That's one little thing. It could be a wall. Yeah. It could be in your journal. It could be in your digital, your an app. It doesn't have to be a physical board that limits, and you got, if it doesn't fit on the board, you got to make. It doesn't have to really be a board. Just
And that's that shift. That's the shift. Like Curtrice was talking about, just that one little thing to do it differently sets off a chain reaction that other things you will start to do differently too. So
I want to share this piece real quick too. And I think about that era when I was given the money and just kind of what my circumstances were like. And I would go and catch the bus to like the more affluent areas and sit in a cafe all day and work on my business and do all these things. And I was enjoying my life. Like my mind, at this point, my mindset game is pretty strong, right? It would have to be. And so I'm going through that. But then I remember, in 2022, when I moved to Malibu, in the hills of Malibu in Topanga, and I came around the mountain in my Lexus truck, and I want to cry. How did I get off that bus?
Right.
To here. And when I got there, I had already been there. I didn't wait. Right. Like I was already engaging with that energy that I started here, getting off on the bus, getting on the wrong buses and all the stuff I experienced until I could pull up. Right. But there was that's important because most people feel that these dreams are so far away. They're just on TV or they're just for Oprah. And it's not. And that your imagination, they say the imagination is the mind of God. And so when you're thinking of a thing, that's a sacred moment you are having. That is for you to manifest and actualize.
Yeah.
I love that. So want to take a step back to the self-work. And in order to be able to let go, we have to recognize that we've been holding on to, right? Divinity, what apology do you owe yourself?
You don't want to do this with me.
I know that's a big one.
Yeah.
Woo! That just came out of, that is not fair.
Yeah.
We were all laughing and having such a good time.
She literally just shook up the room, right?
Gosh. A lot of different things.
Yeah, that's real.
A lot of different things. A lot of different things. For not trusting myself. For not trusting myself and not loving myself in the moment to know that I knew what I was doing all along and I should have trusted myself. And then get past it and beating myself up and feeling ashamed for not trusting myself in the first place when I knew what I was doing. All is just a cycle. So I have a lot to apologize to myself for.
Yeah. Curtrice?
I relate to that. Divinity, I've never heard you say that.
I never heard myself say that. I hope somebody recorded it. That's a big deal. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that question. So I'm so grateful for that question. And I think that's just the tip of my iceberg. Now that I'm really thinking about that question, I got to sit with my thoughts in my journal. And I have to, that's so big. That's an amazing question.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. And I have the same answer. Not trusting myself and feels like a giving up in a way. In a way, because you're doing enough to seem active, but if you got a different calling and you're not doing the calling, then there's a and that really is pain. That's painful to not honor the medicine and the wisdom and the gifts that
Right.
are coming through you.
Right.
And it's interesting because Divinity said, trusting myself and then knowing all the time. And I think that's part of the, I don't call them lessons, like wisdom that we get to experience, is that where a lot of times we've been asked to go first in things, but not, not to see it. No one else has done it, or they're not in your vicinity. And so you have to really move out in a deep state of trust. And yeah, I definitely owe myself an apology for that, for so much. And I've had so many moments of seeing ideas and different things come. I'm in somebody's company now. I'm like, I had this idea 20 years ago, which I love what he's doing, but I did, but he moved, And so with those moments, and I know there's no lack and I can create it or recreate whatever, but that it always like hits me of, you didn't believe enough, or you didn't see it, or you didn't feel validated, or whatever came up. I didn't honor what I knew.
Right. So
when you ask,
hold on for 1 second. Words have so much power, and so we use them with intentionality, or we should. So, Curtrice, you said not lessons, wisdom. What's the difference?
So a lesson for me, it carries a connotation of the way that it's used, not literal, that something that you really didn't desire happened. Like, oh,
Okay.
well, you learned a good lesson. Well, that's a good lesson.
Mhm.
Or I learned a lot of lessons there. It's never said with joy, I learned a lesson, And so for me, when I'm moving through life experiences and what you would consider a moment that you now have a revelation about, learn something about yourself, I've gained wisdom, and that wisdom feels for me like a more empowering energy, that I'm moving through life to have experiences, and I'm becoming more because of it. I have wisdom now. Remember this moment. I'm not being punished if I get a divorce. That's not a lesson or a punishment. Right. I've gained wisdom. I'm glad I had that experience, a human experience. We're here to have experiences, and not all of them are to be joyful, or else we wouldn't have access to all these emotions. Right. So, sadness is a part of that. Grief is a part of that. And you gain wisdom in that. And it energetically feels more empowering for me. And that's how.
And Chris, I didn't mean to cut you off, right? But that was just sitting with me, because words do have power. And if I'm aware of why somebody's using the shift, right? Like why they were intentional about that word, I can learn something from that, right? Like, and that's always what we want our listeners to have, more tools and resources. And that also helps with that mind shift, right? Like, I'm going to own this word, that experience, in a way that serves me, versus, right? Like I was
a bad thing.
Yeah. Sorry, Crystal.
That's okay.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry, right? Like, no.
Right.
And
absolutely. So when you asked the question and you shook up the room for everybody, including our listeners, I'm sure, and I hope that they thought that through and answered it for themselves. And I wrote down my answer, which was playing it small, right? And then Divinity came back with the trusting myself. And I just think that's it. Why am I playing small? Because I don't trust myself to do the very thing that I've been assigned to do. So the only way it doesn't get done is if I don't do it. So why do I not trust myself enough in order to do it in the first place?
Wow.
Yeah. So Michele, you don't get out of answering the question
at all. Not when I'm still nabbing tears. Not at all.
I'm writing a note like, can I speak to the manager?
What's the number? You may be determined. You may get damages. Yes,
right.
Damages from this.
Emotional damages. Something is happening here, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Waivers for this show.
Right. Yes.
The ability to create space for somebody else to grow may cost you this. Sign here, please. Yeah, I would say the biggest apology, and I too, Divinity, like you, owe myself many. Um, the biggest one was not recognizing my worth. As a Black woman working in white spaces, right? I quieted myself quite a bit, and downplayed how I got in the room, right? I didn't own my worth, and I owe myself a lifetime of apologies for that, and that reminder to never sit in that space again.
Yeah, that's good.
Now you want me to go back to hosting after? There, Divinity. You happy now? I'm out here with I'm out here with you.
I don't see your thoughts.
Because it was like the collective exhale. It was like,
Yeah, it was.
yeah. I mean, how do they say it? Facts. We do own ourselves many apologies. And so I don't know, my challenge to everybody who's listening now and to everybody who will watch this on the replay, write yourself that apology letter, right? And come back and edit it, because you're going to have more than the one or two things that you put on there initially. But when you apologize to, what is it that they say? And I'm going to ask y'all because I'll mess it up. But when someone apologizes to you, it's not the words, it's the actions or something that happens after that. Y'all help me out. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Change behavior is the apology.
That. So when you apologize to yourself, how then are you changing your own behavior to go forward? Yeah.
That's for the next show, right?
She will be provided.
It was like, because I'm not answering that question.
We're not opening that door.
I already am doing something different, because this is a conversation that I've not answered it that way, because I've not been asked that question, but I'm aware of the situation within myself. And so I'm already doing things differently. This whole break for me from school, I'm a teacher, so I've been off for a couple of weeks. And I didn't really have anything on the agenda to do. I knew some things I wanted to do, but I didn't, I didn't have anything firm. And I just listened to whatever happened to be whispered or tapped at or caught my attention each day. And that led me to do so much because I didn't question it. I just heard and felt it in my gut and made the move. And not one wrong move yet. Not
That's
one
connection to divine mind. And if you get out of your own way, like, we can do so much. We want to figure it out. And I want to do this. And I got this to-do list. And but something else is saying, no, I need you to do this today. I need you to go here today. And you go there and you meet the person that you were supposed to meet to make everything else easier. And had you not listened to that.
That's it. Just move sometime instead of, trying to figure it out and why this and what does that mean? Just sometimes just do. Yeah. It'll all be revealed.
Getting out of your way is hard, especially, and I don't know, maybe season 2, we talked about the multiple masks that we wear. Getting out of my own way, which eye am I talking about? Right? Because
and which eye is blocking me too. We block ourselves in so many different ways. It's so many. Yeah.
Deep. So I want to switch this just a little bit, right? So this was about releasing what no longer serves you. We are also in situations where we are not serving, and we stay and we do whatever the thing is. So, I always say, I don't have any business being in your life if I can't bring something to your life. So part of releasing what no longer serves you is releasing those things that you're no longer serving for whatever reason, the things, the people's thoughts, the ideas. So I don't really know the question to ask behind that. But what are those things that you are continuing to stay around, do, but you're not really serving them anymore? Like you're not giving them what it needs to grow. You're not watering the thing.
Ooh, somebody make sure Crystal has to answer that question because wow.
And why do we continue to do the thing? Does it go back to being comfortable? Okay, I'm at this job, but I'm not giving it my all. I really am just here taking up time to get this paycheck. When you're not doing that job, that service, you're not contributing to the people, you're not bettering the situation. Why are you still there?
So ultimately, it's still not serving you because you're wasting your energy if you're not really fully present. So it is still all coming back to you.
Correct.
And you letting it go because it's not serving you. It's not about what you're serving. You're not being served either.
Right.
Is it fear?
Probably in some instances. Because we won't stay in a situation for too long.
For sure.
Right? We'll stay in a situation for too long.
Not serving it at all, right? I felt every bit of what you were saying and couldn't answer it clearly. And so would be cautious to not answer. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But that's the number of things that popped up in my head as you were giving those examples.
And then does it wind up being, I don't know, fair to the thing that you aren't serving either? Because shouldn't that, going back to the employer thing, shouldn't that employer have somebody who wants to be there, who wants to do the thing? That customer on the other end, shouldn't they get somebody who is not like, that's going to say, how can I help you today? And really mean it?
And at one time that was you. There's
right. Yeah.
I remember being passionate, and when I was released from my job, terminated, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like it felt, we all knew at that table. And so we knew. And I remember receiving a call of saying, do you want to come back? One of my friends was in HR because I can get you back in. And that was the scariest moment of my life, but I knew something else was opening up because of what I was studying and focusing on and how it was developing. And I said no. So it was like stability, what you've known for 11 years,
right,
or the unknown.
Right.
Yeah.
I just laughed because that was my thing in 2022. Yeah, I quit. I'm not doing this no more.
Yeah,
but the unknown was there, but I knew the unknown was better than what I knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what the unknown was, right? But I can't do this piece anymore. So
yeah, that's operating on another level of faith, right? And so Divinity, I really like how you push that thing full circle, right? Yeah. And so as she said, am I being fair to my employer as that example? Am I being fair to myself? And that's the higher cost.
Biggest piece, right?
Right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what's coming up too? Integrity. You want to be in integrity on what you do. And when you stay too long, you find yourself, you can be more in a messy energy, right? Not giving your all, not being on time, not giving full energy, not wanting to be there. And it's not a win-win, and we deserve better. And to hold ourselves better and to give better. I love that because I love a standard. So when you say it that way, Crystal, I love a standard. So it's like, yeah, being in deep integrity would be to leave situations when you're no longer serving it and you're not giving the best of who you are.
Because in staying, aren't we also holding ourselves hostage? Somebody, I think, used that word earlier today. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you letting the universe, God, the divine kind of, you're radiating out, kind of take anything. You're in an anything energy. It's not clear.
Whoa.
This how you are.
Oh, okay. We could not have started off 2025 with a better conversation.
Yes, powerful. Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah. So fastest hour of the day, right? We certainly want to leave a few minutes left to let folks learn about who you are and the gifts that you give to the world and the many hats that we wear. As we begin to wrap up the conversation, what do we offer our listeners? If there's one thing of the many that you want folks to walk away with and really begin to sit with, what would that be? I'm going to go to Curtrice first. Vinny, I'm going to let you sit with it a moment because I have put you on the hot seat twice.
Is this a question or a tool?
However,
Yeah,
if you want to, right? Yeah, if you want to have folks sit with a question.
Yeah, I put a tool, which what we started off in creating sacred time for yourself. Like my clients have like sacred Sunday or whatever day that aligns. Sunday works for most people, and if you don't have a day that you can dedicate because of family or different commitments, at least having a sacred hour where your phone is on airplane mode, it is just you. In that hour, you can dance, have tea, brain dump, listen to music, do whatever it is that lights you up. So they're reigniting their fire, resting, watching Netflix with no guilt, right? Really allowing themselves to enjoy their homes that they're paying rent on, that they're always, even though they're always in do mode, right? So that's sacred Sunday. And it's not easy. Like most of my clients are still working and moving and taking care of people instead of being in a sacred space of being with themselves and listening, allowing to hear back from all the desires you're putting out. Then you want to get quiet so that you can receive, like Crystal shared. So leave you with that. Game changer.
I'm going to echo something I said a little earlier and just focus on how you want to feel. How are you feeling? Like, how are you really feeling? Not just, what we say when someone asks us how we're feeling and we give that programmed response. How are you really feeling? Yeah. Is it just okay? And don't you want to be a little bit more? Like, what can you do to get yourself a little bit higher than where you are? So I like that as a tool and a question.
Follow up.
The question is the tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, to shift a little bit.
Because naturally that first response would be the typical response. Yeah. And you're inviting us to go a little deeper. Yeah. How are you feeling?
We talked about the apology. What do you have to apologize to yourself for? And after you figure that out and have written it down and have journaled on it, forgive yourself for it. Right? You really have to, that now let's forgive it, because you got to forgive it in order to then move forward. So it's not enough to just recognize it, but forgive it in order to release it.
Once again, action. Got to move on the thing.
Got to move on the thing.
Got to move on the thing. So, Curtrice, you shared a few of your hats at the top of the show. Tell folks about the way that you provide service to others.
Yes. So I'm currently running programs. My new program is coming up on the 17th, and it's a 21-day experience. And in that, we are developing more of a wealthy consciousness, you could say, through clean eating, daily rituals, mental nutrition, and physical body movement, along with lectures and I call them wisdom downloads from myself. So this is going to help people. I made the 21-day experience based on where my clients are needing support, which is community. So this is going to help people to establish like their internal blueprint for wealth consciousness, right? Which means feeling fulfilled in every area of your life, not just resources through monetary, but relationships, self-love, and all those other good things. So I'm excited about that. That's my main focus right now in terms of services.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Divinity. How can folks find you, Curtrice?
At my website, just like my name is here, Curtrice Goddard without the R, CurtriceGoddard.com.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
My question, same question. How am I of service? Well, my students will tell you one thing. The people who listen to my music will tell you something else. So I do a lot of different things. So that answer is varied. But I think the biggest service I give is to just be myself, and to just kind of, however messy that is, and whatever it happens to look like at the moment, and how it changes from second to second. I'm pretty open about that and transparent. So let's see. The latest offering I have is a children's book that is complete. And I'm very excited about this book. It's called Rise Every Morning, Affirmations for Big Confidence. And it's a picture book of affirmations. It's for children of color, more specifically, but it's for everyone. The characters are children of color. I'm very excited about it and what it's going to do.
Is it scheduled to be released? Is it available?
It's not available just yet, but I'm looking at the next couple of months actually to release.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
Divinity, can you, the last time we were on the show, we really talked about your music, but can you tell us a little bit about the Little Bit Project?
Sure. The Little Bit Project is my nonprofit organization, and we basically focus on uplifting and spreading love and positive energy and helping people kind of make positive change in their lives. So although we've kind of scaled down over the past few years, we'll be turning 10 years next year. This year. This is our 10th year. And one of our flagship programs is the Holiday Drive, where we just completed this for the holiday that just passed December. We collect needs and wants for about 15 to 20 young people in the city who just, their families are in some type of crisis. Parents are incarcerated or drug addicted. They're in foster care or something. And we just make the holiday season a little brighter for them, get them some things that they need and want. And that's basically what the Little Bit Project is all about, just touching others' lives. And the premise is if we all do a little bit, it makes a big impact. That's where the name The Little Bit Project comes from. So our collective little bits make a big impact.
Love it.
Thank you.
What an amazing way to kick off this season, 2025. You've been a blessing, both of you. Anybody listening, I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I've been made stronger. I have been made better being in community with both of you once again. The way in which you share your knowledge, your wisdom is impactful. And if you came into this conversation curious, seeking, and you walk away empty, you must have had your volume down. The only way that you can't leave this conversation pricked in your heart to think about what is not serving me and what needs to be different, that I can honor this gift that God gave me in a way that can change the lives of those that I touch each and every day. So thank you both for saying yes one more time. This platform is created for moments like this, where the laughter turns to tears, turns to laughter again, and folks get tools and resources and words to carry them through, to recognize that there is power in being a Black woman. There's no shame in it. There's so much room for growth, and who we are and what we provide this universe is necessary for life. Could not imagine a better conversation to be a part of. Crystal, I always in the show with thanking you for creating platforms such as this, for conversations like this, for a time such as this, because never in our lifetime has it been more important to understand the power that we possess as Black women. So I thank you for being obedient to the call that God has put on your life year after year. Without all of the answers, you keep saying yes. So I thank you. 2025 is going to be amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
You are.
Oh,
Thank you, my friend.
beautiful. Okay, I wasn't expecting that part. And I do have to mention, me just put this on the screen. She might not even still be on listening in. But the pool was on here today. So I absolutely know when you say 2025 is going to be amazing. That right there, it's just the things. Remember I said pay attention to the signs. I historically, probably for the last 15 years, I don't go out on New Year's. New Year's Eve is all about me, gratitude and planning for the upcoming year, listening, downloads, all of those things. But I spent New Year's Eve with my baby girl. Like we went out, like in the snow, in the rain. And I was like, okay, 2025 is going to be crazy different because I'm going into it doing things that I haven't done before. So she has not, I mean, except for the show that she was on as a guest, has not tuned in and listened. So I'm super, super grateful for that.
I love that.
We often talk about our tribes on this show, right? And we said a lot of things and gave good suggestions and tools and things to think about and questions to make us hopefully think and move into action. And we always talk about check your tribe. And I'm going to add that as another one of those tools that we need to do for 2020. Check your tribe. And I want you to pay attention to something that Michele just said. She said, I'm obedient in this thing and I do it year after year, not really having all of the answers. Your true friend is going to ride for you even when you don't have all of the answers. Because who else is going to show up for you when they say, well, what is this supposed to look like? What are we doing? And I'm like, we're going to figure it out on the way. Your true friend is going to do that. So Michele, I thank you for showing up and curating these conversations like no one else can. Like, it's absolutely amazing. And Diviniti and Curtrice, yeah, y'all part of the tribe. I don't even know if you know that, but y'all are part of the tribe, right? Y'all are definitely part of the tribe. And I thank you for the gifts that you give and for your transparency. And yes, Diviniti, I need to start sending out the disclaimers ahead of time. All of the things. Yeah,
I'm filing papers.
I
That's
do.
fair.
So I appreciate you all. And part of this thing is us owning our amazing because that's who we are. So I am Crystal L. Gunn. I am a Black woman and I own every bit of my amazing, unapologetically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Divinity, Curtrice, you are a true blessing.
Yeah.
And I look forward to us having an opportunity to do this one more again, as they would say. Conversations are always enlightening and really do my heart a world of good. It is always powerful to be in company with amazing Black women, of which I am one without apology. My name is Michele Harper, and I own it 100%. Divinity.
So grateful to be here again with all of you ladies. It's an honor. It's a privilege. I never really know what to expect when we get on the air, but it's always better than I ever could have thought. So thank you for again giving me the opportunity to show up and figure it out kind of as I went and share that as well. And that is part of what owning your amazing is all about. It's going to look different at different times. So I'm Divinity. I'm amazing and I own it no matter what it looks like. It's still amazing.
I love that. I love it.
I love that. Beautiful. Thank you all. This is so healing and inspiring to be in community. And it's definitely a manifestation for me. So your beingness and just showing up is so healing for me. And I'm grateful and just so honored to be here. Yes, this is beautiful. I am divine. I am human. And I am a Black woman. And I own my amazing. And it's such an honor to be in this skin.
I absolutely love that. I love that. Amazing Women Speak, sponsored by the Amazing Woman Network, which was created to unite and empower Black women globally, focusing on the core pillars of reclaiming our personal power, mind, body, and spirit, reclaiming our financial power, and increasing our social involvement. These next few episodes will be all about those those pillars, reclaiming that power. And again, helping us to understand that our amazing isn't by what someone else says, by what we do, by how much money we have. Our amazing was established at birth.
Yes.
So please find Amazing Women Speak on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Spotify, wherever your favorite platform. Like and or subscribe. Be sure to turn notifications on. Go in and look at some past episodes. Take a look at the topics. Find the ones that speak to your soul. I'm sure you will find many. Listen to them. Share them with others. Don't be a gatekeeper. And let's just all elevate even higher in 2025. Thank you so much. Thank you for those who joined in the comment section, and thank you to all of those that are listening. It is now time for those Detroit Lions fans to tune in to football. So we will see you again next week. Peace.
Thank you.